It will be covered with following 4 headings. First, complication with reference to CSM, then enumerate complication, then complication, best clinical features, and then evaluation and management of complication of CSM. Now, definition. It is the spreading of infection beyond the confinement of mucosal space of middle ear cleft. That is, mucoperiosteal lining is crossed by the infection of middle ear cleft. Now, what are the complications of CSM? It is broadly divided into extracranial and intracranial. কি গল্প করছো নাকি? শুনছো? জিজ্ঞেস করবো কিন্তু একটু পরে। Divided into extracranial and intracranial. In extracranial, intratemporal and extratemporal. Intracranial complication, there are 6 main complications: meningitis, sigmoid sinus thrombosis, brain abscess, extradural abscess, subdural abscess, and otitic hydrocephalus. In extracranial complication, mastocytis, petrositis, labyrinthitis, and facial palsy. Now, extracranial, extratemporal, subperiosteal abscess, basalt abscess, zygomatic abscess, and digastric abscess. Predisposing factors. What are the predisposing factors? Aticoantral type of CSM, that is cholesteatoma, highly virulent organism, poor host immune response, presence of preform pathway for spreading of infection, extreme of age, lower age or old age, and poor socio-economic status. Now, route of spread. How infection is spread? Number 1, bone erosion, which is found in unsafe type of CSM, suppurative retrograde thrombophlebitis, and preform pathway. Direct bone erosion. In case of acute suppurative otitis media, it is due to hyperemic decalcification. Due to hyperemia, there is decalcification of bone, thereby erosion of the bone and spreading of infection from the middle ear into deep inside. And in case of chronic suppurative otitis media, main cause is cholesteatoma or granulation tissue. Now, suppurative retrograde thrombophlebitis. It is the thrombosis of the vein of Haversian canal. Through that, it spread to the dural veins. Through that, it involved the dural venous sinuses. Through that, thrombophlebitis of dural sinuses and cortical vein thrombosis. Preform pathway. Congenital dehiscence. Dehiscence of the facial canal and over the jugular valve. In the middle ear, you know, in the hypotympanum, there is jugular valve that is covered by bone. In some congenital cases, the bone is deficient. In case of facial nerve, there is also deficiency of the facial bony canal. Then patent sutures, that is petrosquamous suture line is patent. Temporal bone fractures, the fibrous scar permits infection because temporal bone fractures are healed by fibrous union. Surgical defect, which is done by the operation, that is stepidotomy, fenestration, and exposure of dura during chronic suppurative otitis media surgeries. Perilymphatic fistula, that may be congenital or acquired. Normal anatomical opening, that is infection of the labyrinth, and from labyrinth to the meninges. Now, features of impending complication. What are the clinical features which threaten the complications? Number 1, fever. Number 2, severe headache. Number 3, projectile vomiting. Number 4, neck stiffness. Number 5, photophobia. Number 6, irritability or altered consciousness. Now, mastocytitis. When infection spread from the mucous lining, the mastoid hair cells are involved and bony wall of the mastoid hair cell systems are destroyed, giving rise to acute mastocytitis. And that acute mastocytitis, after treatment or management, it may lead to masked mastocytitis. Acute coalescence mastocytis. This is the production of pus under tension plus hyperemic decalcification and osteoclastic reabsorption of the septum, bony septum of the mastoid hair cell system. So thereby destruction of all safety, coalescence of all hair cells of the mastoid and single pus filled cavity. It is also called empyema of mastoid. Now, clinical features of acute mastocytitis. Earache, fever, ear discharge. Quantity become very profuse and purulent. What are the signs? Mastoid tenderness. Sagging of the posterior superior meatal wall. That is, the posterior superior bony meatal wall is destroyed and there will be sagging of the posterior superior meatal wall. Eardrum perforation, swelling, redness and bulging over the mastoid, and hearing loss, conductive type of hearing loss. So, persistent otorrhea beyond 3 weeks, this is important in case of acute otitis media indicates mastocytitis. So, time is very important, it should be more than 3 weeks. Investigations. Oral swab for culture sensitivity, HSCT of temporal bone. Here you can see this is the mastoid hair cell system, this is the middle ear, this is the internal acoustic meatus. Here cells are normal, black in color, but here it is somewhat hazy. That means there is some secretion inside the mastoid hair cells and there is destruction of safety. All the safeties are destroyed. Now, what are the bacteria responsible? Streptococcus pneumoniae, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, Group A beta hemolytic streptococci, Coalescence negative staphylococci. Other less common are Staphylococcus aureus, Proteus species and Bacteroid species. Now, how you differentiate between the acute mastocytitis and furuncle of external auditory canal, because both can present with a post-auricular swelling. So how will you differentiate clinically? Number 1, ear discharge. In case of acute mastocytitis, there are mastoid, mucoid or mucopurulent discharge is there. In case of furuncle, cell cleaning of yaks, pain in the swelling subside with the patient. Conductive hearing loss always present, only present when it is occluded by the furuncle. Tenderness is over the mastoid region. It is elicited on the anterior or inferior of the pinna. If you pull or press the tragus, there will be tenderness in case of furuncle. Auricular movement usually painless. It is always painful in case of furuncle. Displacement of the auricle, inferior, anterior and lateral. This is important. It is only anterior. Retroauricular sulcus, there is no orbitation of the sulcus angle, may be obliterated in case of furuncle. Tympanic membrane, there is a perforation. In case of furuncle, there is intact tympanic membrane. External auditory canal swelling, that is always sagging of the posterior superior deep metal wall. It is in outer cartilaginous part there is swelling, because furuncle occurs in the always cartilaginous part of the external auditory canal. Pre or postoperative lymph nodes may be present and tender, it is absent. Imaging, if you done a imaging, there will be destruction of the mastoidal cells. In case of furuncle, it is now normal X-ray. Now treatment, hospitalization, IV antibiotic, myringotomy and cortical mastectomy. Now sequelae of acute coalescent mastoiditis. What is the sequence? Subperiosteal abscess, most common. It is situated just behind the auricle, that is the post-auricular region. This is the area where subperiosteal abscess occurs. Now Settle's abscess, Lux abscess, petrositis, labyrinthitis and facial palsy. This is the cell distribution of mastoidal cells in the temporal bone. You can see zygomatic cells. This is the root of zygoma. There is a cells, this is called zygomatic group of cells. If there is an abscess, that is called Lux abscess. Mastoidal cell, post-auricular abscess, is behind the external auditory canal. Mastoid process, this is mastoid process. Digastric cells deep to the mastoid process, and this abscess is called Settle's abscess. And mastoid tip cells, if there is a abscess, it is called Bezold abscess. So there is different group of cells. If they are involved, there are different name implies of that abscesses. Now Bezold abscess. You can see the mastoid process. This is the mandible. This is the facial nerve, yellow color. This is the posterior belly of digastric. This is sternomastoid muscle. Abscess occur deep to the mastoid process and pass trickle along the sternomastoid sheath of the sternomastoid, giving rise to this type of swelling. Along the sternomastoid muscle. Now masked mastoiditis. Show destruction of mastoidal cells. Acute signs and symptoms of acute mastoiditis are absent. Inadequate antibiotic therapy, dose, frequency, duration, pain, discharge, fever, mastoid swelling absent. Mastoidectomy, extensive destruction of the ear cells with the granulation tissue and drug gelatination material filling the mastoid. So, masked mastoiditis is a chronic mastoiditis where acute features of the acute mastoiditis are partially overcome, not fully cured by the antibiotic therapy, but not responding adequately. Now petrositis. Petrositis is the pneumatization of the petrous tip cells in 30% of individual. Two groups of ear cell tract communicate mastoid and middle ear. So these petrous apex cells are communicating with the mastoid middle ear cavity by two pathways. One is posterior superior tract from the attic antrum of the mastoid cavity, passes around the semicircular canal to the petrous apex. Another is anteroinferior tract from the hypotympanum tract, passes around the eustachian tube and cochlea to the petrous apex. Now Gradinigo syndrome. Sometimes it's come as short note, very important. What are the features of the syndrome? What are the clinical signs of symptoms? The cranial nerve palsy, the abduction nerve palsy, deep-seated ear pain or retroorbital pain, persistent ear discharge. So, persistent ear discharge in cases of cortical or modified radical mastectomy may be due to petrositis. Now, management. How will you manage of the petrous apex abscess, petrous tip cell abscess? There are different route of approaches. First, HRCT to confirm the petrous tip abscess, IV antibiotic and surgical exploration. There are different routes. This is the facial artery. This is the route, one route. This is the one route. This is the one route. So there are 6 routes to approach the petrous tip cells. Now facial nerve palsy. Complication of both acute and chronic otitis media can cause facial palsy due to dehiscence of the facial canal. This cause is in case of acute otitis media. In case of acute otitis media, generally facial palsy does not occur. If it occurs, you suspect there must be a dehiscence of the congenital dehiscence of the facial nerve. Now, destruction of the facial nerve in case of chronic suppurative otitis media is due to atticoantral disease. That is, atticoantral means cholesteatoma and granulation. Treatment in case of, if its cause is acute otitis media, then go for myringotomy. In case of chronic suppurative otitis media, go for cortical mastectomy, or as per disease permits, you have to done the definitive surgery. Now, labyrinthitis, it is acute inflammation of the labyrinth. Diffusion of toxin via the round window from middle ear is due to, it is called serous labyrinthitis. It is toxic labyrinthitis of the inner ear. Number 2, labyrinthitic fistula caused by the hyperemic decalcification. If there is decalcification of the bony labyrinth and infection goes inside, this is called due to circumscribed labyrinthitis. This is located outside the labyrinth, perilabyrinthine membrane. Then pyogenic infection of the labyrinth, it is called suppurative labyrinthitis. Here there is definite infection, they will get pus and bacteria inside the labyrinthine fluid. So, retrospective diagnosis with treatment improve in serous labyrinthitis. In case of serous labyrinthitis, regular antibiotic therapy can improve that, but other two is difficult to improve until and unless the labyrinth is damaged. Otogenic meningitis. Inflammation of leptomeninges, that is arachnoid and pia. Two layers are totally called as a leptomeningitis, and CSF of subarachnoid space. Most common in intracranial complication. 1/3 case of meningitis are otogenic origin. So 1/3 cases of meningitis is due to ear infection. So it is classified circumscribed meningitis, where there is no bacteria in CSF. Generalized meningitis, where bacteria are present in CSF. Retrograde thrombophlebitis, bone erosion, or preform pathway through oval or round window, via perineural space to internal auditory canal, or via endolymphatic duct. These are the route of spread, and fracture and dural tear and CSF leak. Now, stages of generalized meningitis. Serous stage, cellular stage and bacterial stage. There are 3 stages. In serous stage, outpouring of fluid and increased CSF pressure. If you do a lumbar puncture, you can assess there is increase of CSF pressure. Cellular stage, increased number of cells, especially the lymphocyte. Lymphocyte count is increased in CSF. Bacterial stage, bacteria present and polymorphonuclear leukocytes are present in large number. Now symptoms. What are the symptoms? Rise of temperature 102 to 104 degree Fahrenheit, often with chill and rigor. Hectic rise, this is called hectic rise of temperature. This is a sign of abscess. Headache, neck rigidity, photophobia, mental irritability, nausea, vomiting. This is projectile vomiting. This is called projectile vomiting. Cranial nerve palsies and hemiplegia. Sign, neck rigidity, positive Carnick sign, positive Brudinski sign, and tendon reflex are exaggerated initially, but later become sluggish or absent. Papilledema usually seen in late stage. This is Carnick sign, this is the Brudinski sign. Now investigation, HRCT, temporal bone, MRI, fundoscopy, lumbar puncture is the diagnostic tool. CSF is cloudy and CSF pressure increase, contains bacteria and many polymorph, protein concentration raised, but glucose and chloride are decreased. This is very important. Glucose and chloride in CSF diminished. Now meningitis is the flow chart. Investigation other than I already told you. Lateral sinus thrombosis. It is thrombophlebitis of the lateral venous sinus. Usually develop secondary to direct extension from a perisinus abscess due to advanced otitis media. Acute otitis media, hemolytic streptococcus is the causative organism and pneumococcus is the causative organism from where lateral sinus thrombosis may occur. And cholesteatoma, this is an unsafe type of CSM where bacteria are different, Bacillus proteus, Pseudomonas, Yersinia, Escherichia coli and Staphylococci. Now pathogenesis. Acute otitis media and chronic otitis media. Now erosion of bone covering the sigmoid sinus plate, perisinus abscess, inflammation of the outer wall of dura, inflammation of the intima or inner wall of the sinus, mural thrombosis, that is thrombosis inside the sigmoid sinus. Mural thrombus gradually propagate to obliterate the lumen. So there is totally obstruction of the sigmoid sinus. So CSM, erosion of the bone covering the sigmoid, persistent abscess formation, inflammation of the outer and dural wall, then inflammation of the intima, then mural thrombosis, and mural thrombosis propagate to obliterate the lumen. And it is another route from cholesteatoma, how it comes, it directly involves the. Now intracranial complication, lateral sinus thrombosis, clinical features. Signs of blood invasion, that is called septicemia. Septicemia, what are the features? Fever, spiking fever, spike rising of fever with chill and rigor, and persistent fever, septicemia. Positive Giesinger sign, what are the Giesinger sign? It is edema and tenderness over the area of the mastoid emissary vein. Sign of increased intracranial pressure, headache, vomiting and papilledema. When clot extends to the jugular vein, the vein might be felt in the neck as a tender cord. So jugular vein is palpable in the neck in case of thrombosis, vascular occlusion by thrombosis of the jugular vein. Intracranial complication, lateral sinus thrombosis diagnosis, CT scan with contrast for delta sign. Here you can see the sigmoid, and this side is not visible. Angiography, venography, blood culture is positive during the febrile phase. Clinical features, sign of blood invasion. Already. Now treatment, high dose of IV antibiotic and supportive treatment, anticoagulant to prevent the thrombus formation, mastoidectomy with exposure of affected sinus and intrasinus abscess is drained. Now autogenic brain abscess. Time localized suppuration of the brain substance. Most lethal complication of suppurative automedia. So brain abscess is very deadly complication of CSM. Autogenic or granulation tissue, retrograde thrombophlebitis, encephalitis, necrosis and liquefaction of the brain tissue with surrounding edema. Within 2 weeks, abscess capsule is surrounded by granulation tissue. So, there are 4 stages. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. Early cerebritis, that is the invasion phase. It lasts for 1 to 3 days. So, there is vascular inflammation response surrounding the developing necrotic center. There is only a necrotic center, around that there is inflammation. Late cerebritis, that is also localized Wissen's abscess. It lasts for 4 to 10 days. Well-formed necrotic center, vascularity in the periphery, in the necrotic area. Early capsule formation. Now there is formation of capsule. Enlargement manifest by abscess and their size is increased. It lasts for 10 to 13 days. Well developed layer of fibroblast and persistent cerebritis and neovascularity. There are new vascular formation. Late capsule formation, that is the termination stage. That is the 14 days. And there is thickening of the capsule. So this is the picture. Here it is the abscess, how it occurs. This is the retrograde thrombophlebitis from the sigmoid sinus and mastoid emissary vein. The mastoid emissary vein go inside and there is formation of dural abscess. From there it goes through this cerebral vein to form the cerebral abscess. This is same. If it bursts inside the ventricle, there will be death of the patient. There is sagging of the coning of the brain, and patient may succumb to death. Intracranial complication, brain abscess treatment, broad spectrum antibiotic, measure to decrease the intracranial pressure. There is swell-like features in case of brain abscess. Neurosurgical drainage or excision of the abscess, the neurologist will intervene. And in ENT people, you have to remove the disease of the primary cause, that is the mastoidectomy operation after subsequent of the acute stage. So you have to call neurosurgeon, and neurosurgeon people will drain the abscess and ENT people will do the mastoid surgery to treat the mastoid infection. Otitic hydrocephalus. What is that? Increased intracranial pressure with normal CSF. Here CSF features are normal, biochemical and cellular component are normal, but there is only increased pressure. There is severe headache, diplopia due to paralysis of the sixth cranial nerve and blurring of the vision due to papilledema. How it occurs? Retrograde extension of the thrombophlebitis from the sigmoid sinus to the superior sagittal sinus. So superior sagittal sinus, there is extension of the thrombus, and that block the arachnoid villi. What are the arachnoid villi? They are the absorbent sites of CSF. So, if there is blockage of the arachnoid villi, CSF absorption will be diminished, the decreased absorption, and thereby there is raise of CSF pressure. Evaluation and management, HRCT, lumbar puncture to evaluate CSF pressure, and medical treatment by acetazolamide and corticosteroid, and surgical treatment is lumboperitoneal shunt to release the CSF pressure, and treatment of the underlying cause. Now, extradural abscess. This is collection of pus against the dura of the middle ear and posterior canal fossa. It is called extradural abscess. Clinical features: persistent headache on the side of the otitis media, pulsatile discharge, fever may be asymptomatic, that is only discovered during surgery. Diagnosis by CT scan and ear pathology. MRI revealed associated dural inflammation, and treatment is the mastoidectomy and drainage of abscess. Subdural empyema. Otitis media, from otitis media, two routes: erosion of the tegmen or thrombophlebitis. Thrombophlebitis cause infection of the subdural space. Erosion of the tegmen cause erosion of the dura, giving rise to subdural space abscess and expanding of the mass lesion by inflammation. Management: lumbar puncture contraindicated, HRCT bone and brain, craniotomy and evacuation of pus is important.